Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider. We're here at the Cinema Center at the Toronto International Film Festival. I want to give a huge thank you to Range Rover Sport for being our sponsor this year. It enables us to talk about indie cinema, big cinema, all types of movies, including Conclave. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well.
Me too.
I have so many questions, but I like throwing a curveball right at the beginning. Your mom was such a talented actor and did so many amazing roles. If someone's actually never seen anything of your mom's work, what is like the one or two things you think they should start with?
Well, my mom was Ingrid Bergman, a great actress that died unfortunately many years ago. But she had 10 fantastic years in Hollywood making film with Hitchcock, Cukor. The most famous film is probably Casablanca in America. I think I love Notorious by Hitchcock. I love the film she made with my dad. Roberto Rossellini was a filmmaker. They did 5 films together. Maybe the one that I like the most, the 2 that I like the most. Stromboli and A Trip to Italy. And then my mom, the last film she made was with Ingrid Bergman, Autumn Sonata. So see, I cannot choose. I cannot say one. I have to give people at least 5 titles.
Trip to Italy is a wonderful film. She's great. She also played a nun in The Bells of St. Mary.
The Bells of St. Mary's.
And there's one shot in Conclave where Isabella, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, it's Ingrid Bergman. And then I wake up and I realize happily that it's Isabella.
Speaking of Conclave, I hate asking this, but there's so many people who will not have seen it yet. So how have you been describing the film to people?
I would say it's a conclave. The conclave is about the election of a pope. A pope has just passed away, and now behind closed doors, all the cardinals from all over the world come together to elect the new pope in a secretive, very clandestine, very closed away. You know, it's not open to the public. No one can share a secret. And we follow all the cardinals and their machinations to become the next pope.
What was it like for you, actually? You've read so many scripts in your career. What was it like reading the script for this one for the first time? And what was it about the material that said, oh, I want to be a part of this?
Well, the script was fantastic. It was written by one of the most wonderful scriptwriter. The lines, they were like bullets, you know. They were so easy to say because when something is written well, it's really easy for an actor to say those words. And the film moved me. The story moved me profoundly because it's the ode, we say in Italian, the ode to doubt. That is something that generally people say, well, make up your mind. Is it this or is it that? But this is about mystery and doubt and how we all have it and we have to bow to it. And I thought that was very touching.
You had huge success with All Quiet on the Western Front. What was it? How much did you debate what you wanted to do after that film? And what was it about Conclave that was like, this is the one?
You know, the good thing is that I decided to do Conclave long before All Quiet. I've developed this film with Tessa Ross, the producer, and Peter Strawn, the writer, for about 6 years, 5 to 6 years. And so I think Conclave came just before All Quiet. And it just took a little bit longer to come together. And then during the campaigning for All Quiet for the Oscar, we shot it. So actually, when I went to the Oscars, I just wrapped the movie and I was kind of happy that I'd already made up my mind what the next movie is. There didn't feel so much weight about it because I knew I was in love with it. I knew I wanted to do it. And it wasn't laden, you know, it wasn't like muddied by all the noise around All Quiet.
Sure. One of the things that I commend you on with Conclave, and I said it to you off camera, is just how cinematic it is, you know, and there's so many great shots in it, like the umbrella shot. I think I wrote down, I forget, I don't want to spend 5 minutes looking through my notes, but it really, so talk a little bit about how you collaborated with your cinematographer to make sure that this was something you wanted to see in a movie theater.
So I had seen Stéphane Fontaine's work in Jacques Audiard's movies. He made movies like A Prophet or Rust and Bones. So I'd been a great admirer of his work. He was nominated for an Oscar for Jackie, which was a great film with Natalie Portman. And so I always thought, you know, one day if my cinematographer doesn't have time, the guy I usually collaborate with, I'm going to ask Stéphane. And luckily he enjoyed the script. And we just very much spoke about, you know, that the film can't be just a chamber piece, or that we need to put the camera in a position that basically mirrors what the actors feel inside. So we would go, you know, we had shot listed everything, storyboarded all the electoral process in the Sistine Chapel, just in order, because there's about 5 elections. We didn't want to repeat ourselves, you know? So we just made sure to make them all visually different. And we'd always said, okay, let's watch the performance though first. Let's see what Isabella does. And then, you know, look at our shot list, look at our storyboard, and then decide, does that still make sense? Or has she played it differently? And if she's played it differently, where do we put the camera in order to make the audience feel what she feels at this moment?
But I have to add that Edward is like a painter, and maybe film is about visual power, and he can tell the story just by photographing. The first day I was working, we worked on a scene where the cardinal arrives, and they are all dressed in red, and they are powerful. They had decided they are going to elect the pope, and they are the nuns that are the servants of the cardinal. They are dressed in dark gray, blue, and they walk looking down, and the shot was from above, and just a body language of our movement, with the cardinal all walking disorderly, and us always, you know, avoiding to bother, told the story of the hierarchy of the church and the separation of the role of male and female. And that was done not with my acting, it was done photographically and choreographing the crowds.
Well, that's the other thing, is that there's many scenes with so many actors in it. Talk a little bit about the blocking, because people don't realize all of that has to be figured out. It's not like they're walking randomly in a movie, you know? So talk a little bit about, you know, was that all figured out in advance in terms of the storyboards, and what is it like to try to choreograph on set?
Well, I like to plan everything in advance, because I'm otherwise too scared to come to set and going to think like, or everybody looks at me and says like, so what are we going to do? And I say, well, I don't know, you know, and then I always worry to panic and not be able to. So I need to think about it ahead of time with Stefan, with my production designer, with my costume designer, AD, with the whole crew. I start to plan, how am I going to do this scene? And then I kind of throw it out though. That just gives me, it's mainly for my own confidence, to get rid of the doubt, you know, that we all have, you know, just to sort of put it aside. And then I, you know, Rafe comes on set, Isabella comes on set, and I usually go, I mean, did I ever say like, you sit here, you stand there, this is how usually I go, all right, let's see, how do we do this? You know, maybe I thought maybe you sit here, but you also, what do you feel? And sort of, it's kind of a collaboration of trying to find it out. And then we slowly get to the point of where it's best. And sometimes it's different to the storyboards or to the shot list. And it just, and then we can adapt with the camera. It just gives me a framework it gives me a sense of security, the planning, to be able to say, you know what, get rid of it. Let's do it differently.
No, completely. So I love talking about the editing process, because it's where it all comes together. So you finish the movie, you have a cut. What happens after the first friends and family screening?
Those screenings are immensely important, because I usually show the film when I think, well, now I'm out of ideas. I'm kind of done. Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, well, the movie works, you know, I never think it's great, but I think it just works. So let's see what other people think. And then I realize it doesn't work yet, you know, because they tell me. I get honest people to come and watch the movie, and they say, well, I got bored in minute 20. And I thought this character I didn't understand. This scene was superfluous. Whatever, it's a discussion, yeah. And then I go, oh my God, how am I going to fix that? And the movie's terrible. And then you go back, and the doubts come back. You know, I should have done it differently. And bit by bit, you craft away at it until, ideally, every shot that is in the film tells a new story, like advances the movie, and every shot has a purpose. And especially with a movie like Conclave, it is a chess game. It's that the characters play, and the movie was written like that, so it feels like a precisely architected script and movie. And that was important to me, that it becomes not repetitive. Every shot is there for a reason. It tells a story. It tells how the character feels. It makes the audience feel something. And so you chop away at it. It's like a sculpture, like bit by bit. And eventually you say, well, now, I don't know, is it going to get better? It's probably now let's just finish it up.
Well, the other thing about the film, though, is you have to figure out precisely where and when to reveal information. And if you reveal too much too soon, the audience is ahead of the characters. So that's one of the reasons why the edit on something like this, did it change a lot in the editing room in ways you didn't expect?
We cut things out. I don't think we moved around things too much, but we left information away that was possibly in the script that we thought, okay, it's better actually if we keep this a mystery a bit longer.
So for both of you, I asked, and everyone here has heard me ask this. In every interview, I ask this because it sometimes leads to some fun questions or fun answers, I should say. So you see the shooting schedule in front of you. What day is circled in terms of I cannot wait to film this? And what day is circled in terms of how the F are we going to film this?
You start.
Well, you prepare, you memorize the line, you run them with friends. I sometimes run the lines because you're always intimidated when you go to the set. There is many people in these films. There were so many fantastic stars. So I read everybody's lines but mine. So I hear. I not just read, I hear the line. Then I will hear them saying it. But I train myself to hear, to be present in that moment, and then say my line. And that's how I generally prepared. And sometimes I do it with another actors, and sometimes I don't have anybody who works with me, so I do it with a tape recorder.
Was there a day on this shoot that you were incredibly excited to film something?
There is a very important scene for this nun to play that has been really silent, has a presence in the film, but she follows the vow of modesty and being invisible, as she said. And then one day I say, I know my role is to be invisible. Nevertheless, God has given me eyes and ears, and I make a denounce. So I have to speak in front of all these superstars, and probably Sister Agnes must have felt the same. There she was talking to 120 men that have the total authority of the Vatican, and she had the authority of the honesty.
Yeah, it's a big scene.
It's
an important moment.
Yeah.
By the way, my schedule all days are circled with how on earth are we going to shoot this? Sheer panic awaiting for me every day. I'm really always like, just there's a sense of urgency and need and desperation and in my stomach every time I come to set. And actually, before every shot, I think, oh my God, we're not going to get this. We're not going to get this. This is all, I'm hiding this from Isabella, by the way. I'm not telling her, I'm not panicking. I'm really calm, but inside it's like, oh, we're not going to get this.
And I know, I'm the daughter of a director,
and
so
then,
I know the torture.
She saw through me. And then she gets it, and I go like, oh, wow, we've got this one. And then it starts again with the next shot. So it's really from shot to shot, you're driven by sheer panic to fail.
Sure. But by the way, it's that kind of nervousness that's why you're good at your job, because you give a shit. You're not phoning being, you know what I mean? That's why this movie is so good. And, anyway.
Thank you very much.
I just went off on it.
If that comes through, then it's okay.
I'm almost out of time with you guys. And so if you don't mind, I have to ask you, what is it like when people start saying you might be someone who's helming a Bond movie? Do you know about this?
I'm very ignorant to rumor, or I've tried to push it aside. I don't listen to it, especially when it's not true.
So are you like officially you're not doing one, or you know what I mean?
I'm not. It's not even a conversation. I think in my mind, or I'm sure not in Barbara Broccoli's mind. I mean, I don't think this is a rumor.
An adorable person, Barbara Broccoli, a major woman producer, an adorable daughter of.
Sure,
but
she's
these are rumors that are just not true.
Sure,
and there's no. So just put a bucket on it, and let's make film by film. I don't know what will be next. I'll just decide
Can I ask you a different one?
Yeah.
There was a rumor that just came out, and it was reported on a major trade that you could be doing an Ocean's 14 movie.
So, well, I feel very honored that people think of me to be able to do something like that. And of course, I would love the challenge to do either. But I think it's rumors that are just like people wanting to print some news that are just have no basis in fact. So.
Then I'm going to ask you a real thing, which is the Ballad of a Small Player, which I believe you just
I can
shot.
talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, because I actually did it and I wanted to do it.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is I remember talking to Colin and he was in Macau and I'm like, what are you doing over there? And he's like, I'm, running or I'm filming. I forget what he said. And then I'm like, oh, and then I found out he's making a movie with you. So what can you tell people about this film and is it done being shot?
I just wrapped 2 weeks ago, just before I came to this festival. And so I'm really happy that I have another movie so basically I developed several movies parallel because you always think none of them are going to get made. And I was lucky enough that all 3 of them got made. So I needed to shoot them. So this was the third one. It's about a gambling addict going to Macau and basically going off the rails. And this is, again, in search of some kind of liberation, not unlike Conclave, even though very different genre. And it's Colin in the main role with Tilda Swinton and Fala Chen.
Yeah, I know that you had Tilda and Fala. So is it radically different than your other work, or is there a style that you think, or some through line that goes through all these 3 recent films?
I would love to change with every film because you develop, you become a different person, you want to try different things. You've explored that side of your personality, so you want to explore something new. And you're always drawn to material by some mysterious essence. In this case, just like Isabella, I was drawn to the question of doubt in the question of with Conclave. That was the main theme of the movie. How doubt kind of can be hindering you, but can also be an incredible source for strength if you embrace it. And I think in essence, when I think about the different movies, All Quiet, Conclave, The Ballad of a Small Player, that's the Colin movie, I would think a theme of liberation, to liberate yourself from your past, to try to find a place that is called where you feel safe and at home. That's kind of maybe an element that ties all movies together.
I could continue talking to the both of you about Conclave, but I'm going to do more conversation when the movie's coming out and we can talk about the specifics, because right now I can't. I'm just going to say for everyone watching, there'll be more interviews on Collider, so keep checking back. And for the 2 of you, I've been a fan of yours for so long. Thank you for coming in. And congratulations, Edward, on your success.
Wasn't I lucky to get Isabella Rossellini for Sister Agnes?
You should play the lottery on the day she said yes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm so serious. Seriously, have a fantastic TIFF.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.